Courage, vocation, and community. The founders believed that if the institutions of civic virtue remained free and strong, the American people would remain self-governing and free. But freedom was not guaranteed. As Ronald Reagan said in his historic speech about the evil empire of the Soviet Union, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. So the second duty of the people is to pass the torch of freedom to the next generation. Many on the left claim they favor civil society, but progressives see the maintenance of civil society as the primary responsibility of government, giving it the right to speak for the people and to assert a moral authority greater than that of the people. Progressives argue that only the state can produce good works, an assertion roundly rejected by conservatives, who point, for example, to the trillion-dollar failure of the Great Society to end poverty. Big government invariably weakens and even impoverishes the people in body and spirit. In sharp contrast, the little platoons of society, our families, our churches, our communities, strengthen and enrich all our lives. The lesson is clear. Government must encourage, not discourage, these social institutions if it wishes to foster a civil society based on a free, independent, and patriotic people. The third duty of the people, then, is to remain faithful to the first principles of liberty and equality, individual rights and limited government, to nourish the family and the other little platoons of society, and to encourage a love of country. In his farewell address in January 1989, President Ronald Reagan called on the nation to foster what he called informed patriotism. The president believed that with the end of the Cold War there was a renewed spirit of patriotism, but that was not enough. Patriotism, he said, had to be well-grounded in popular culture and to recognize that America is freedom, and freedom is special and rare. American freedom, he declared, began with the American memory, and if that was not preserved, Reagan warned, the result would be the erosion of the American spirit. Where does the preservation begin? He asked. In the home and around the kitchen table. If parents have not been teaching their children what it means to be an American, Reagan said, they have failed in their obligation to be good parents. It is critical that we know and study the Constitution so that we can defend what we have achieved under it, a government of, by, and for the people. We must pass along our history to the next generation so as to preserve the ordered liberty bequeathed to us by the founders. The conservative contribution. And this is what conservatives have been doing for the past 6 decades, although it has been no easy task. Especially in the beginning, conservatism was ignored, dismissed, and derided. In the introduction to The Liberal Imagination, published in 1950, the reigning liberal critic Lionel Trilling wrote that liberalism is not only the dominant, but even the sole intellectual tradition in the United States. What he called the conservative impulse was not thoughtful at all, but made up of, at best, irritable mental gestures, which seemed to resemble ideas. When Russell Kirk wrote the magisterial The Conservative Mind 3 years later, offering Edmund Burke, Alexis de Tocqueville, John Adams, Alexander Hamilton, and John Marshall as eminent conservative thinkers, the liberal historian Arthur Schlesinger Jr. said in his review that this great scurrying about for respectability produced only an odd and often contradictory collection of figures that did not rise to the dignity of a conservative tradition. We should be grateful to Professor Schlesinger for providing so clear an example of ideological denial. In The Liberal Tradition in America, the liberal historian Lewis Hartz explained that, by conservatism, what was really meant was European feudalism, which was not only absent from but altogether foreign to the American experience, meaning, I suppose, that Hartz considered American revolutionaries such as John Adams and Thomas Paine to be European feudalists. In Conservatism in America, the historian Clinton Rossiter concluded that because America was a progressive country with a